The St. John's Red Storm, they got a blowout win on Tuesday night, crushing DePaul 85-57 for their second victory in 7 games. Let's talk some Johnnies hoops. We're going to do that with New York Post sports reporter Zach Braziller, who joins me now. Zach, how's it going?
Good, man. I mean, I think if you're a St. John's fan, you're feeling a little better. You
Yeah.
know, they lost 5 of 6, coming off a disappointing loss to number 1 UConn at the Garden, and DePaul is the antidote to what ails them. The 15 threes. I thought they played a really good second half after kind of an up and down first half. It was a get right game. I don't think there's any question about it.
Yeah, well, it's a get-right game, and they look good. Zach, you mentioned it. The Johnnies, they've been struggling lately to get wins. But also in terms of shooting the ball, they've been struggling. And against DePaul, they attempted 43s, knocked down 15 that you just mentioned. Is shooting more from downtown the way Rick Pitino wants his team to play?
Yeah, look, he said it yesterday. He wants his guys to stop counting misses. That's like kind of one thing that he had mentioned recently, that when some of their players miss 1 or 2, they kind of get hesitant and stop shooting threes. And he, like Jordan Dingle, who hit 4 threes yesterday, he said yesterday, I wasn't disappointed that he was 0 for 11 from 3 in the previous three games. I was disappointed that he didn't try to go 0 for 25. Jordan Dingle is the number 2 leading scorer in the country last year. He's kind of been a somewhat underwhelming this year, but he's got talent. He can score the ball. They need more of that from him. And yeah, look, they shot only 25% in their last 6 games, but they're only averaging 16.6 attempts. That's just not enough. This isn't like a team that's going to hammer the opposition in the paint. They need to take more threes. And look, they're not going to shoot 37, 38% every night. And I don't think you're necessarily going into a game saying we want to get up 40, but they clearly got to get up more than they have been. And I thought yesterday was kind of, a good step. And look, teams are going to kind of say, like, we're going to not take away 3-point line, because St. John's has been one of the worst teams in the Big East in 3-point shooting. I think they're a better shooting team than that. Jenkins is a good 3-point shooter. Dingle's a good 3-point shooter. Naheem Aline's not a bad 3-point shooter. I think Chris Ledlum is better than maybe he's shot so far. So they're going to have to be better from the 3-point arc. And yesterday was a good step forward.
Yeah, it was a good step forward. They're going to have to make people pay if they're going to leave them open. We'll see how that bodes for them as they go through the rest of the season. Now, I mentioned 2-5 in their last 7 games. What are the chances of the Red Storm making the tournament? Because that's the goal. And what's that looking like? And how much winning is it going to take for them to get to the big dance?
Yeah, I spoke to a bunch of bracketologists on Monday, and they all kind of agreed. St. John's is right kind of on that cut line. They're right on the bubble. Everyone seems to have them either last 4 in, first 4 out. Look, they still have 3 games with Georgetown, DePaul. Let's take those games out of the equation, because those are the 2 worst teams in the league. They're 2 of the worst 2 of the worst power conference teams in the country. Can't lose any of those games. That leaves them with 5. Creighton and Seton Hall at home, at Marquette, at Providence, at Butler. I think if they go 3-2 in those 5, they're not going to sweat Selection Sunday. You go 2-3, probably got to win a game in the Big East tournament. This is a huge road trip they have coming up. Go to Creighton, go to Marquette, the number 17 in the country, then go to Providence, who is very tough to beat at home, although St. John's did beat them at the Garden. You really want to get one of these 2. Obviously, you would love to get Marquette. A Marquette win would, go at the top of the resume and really bode well for them to get in the tournament. But I feel like even if you split these 2, even if you just win at Providence, you're still in a good spot to make the tournament. 3-2 in those 5 games I mentioned, and I think they're not sweating Selection Sunday.
Yeah, it will be nice to see if they can do that and get some resume-building wins along the way as well. Which brings me to my last question, Zach, because I got to bring it to you, because before the season you predicted that this team would make the tourney. Based on what you've seen thus far, and you just did this, looking at the rest of their schedule, do you see Pitino leading this team to the big dance in 2024?
Yeah, I still think they get in, and I think they win a game. I've been saying this for a long time. I think they're destined for the 8-9. I think they're going to find a way to get 3 of those 5 wins. I think they beat Creighton at home. I think they beat Seton Hall at home, and I think they beat Providence. I don't see Marquette as a winnable game. I just think Marquette's playing too well, and I don't think it's a good matchup just because of just how tough they are to deal with Tyler Kolek, and he's playing at just such a high level, the rating biggest player of the year. But I think they go 3-2 the rest of the way. I think they win a Big East tournament game, playing Friday night for the first time in ages. And yeah, I think they're in the 8-9 in the NCAA tournament and win a game. That I'm sticking with it. Preseason prediction, sticking with it. And just ask Washington football fans about my prediction.
Look
And
at you!
Markel.
Oh, look at you bringing it back to college football. And I talked to Mark Hale. I saw Mark Hale last week. I didn't even bring that up to him when I was at the office. I should have brought that up to him. He knows. You know what? We got to put some respect to Zach, because, Zach, you stuck with your prediction. We've seen it before. So the people and the Johnnies fans, they should believe in you in this prediction with St. John's making the tournament.
Thank you. And if it doesn't happen, I won't come back on. How about that?
No, we can't do that. We can't say that. That is Zach Braziller, the great reporter for the New York Post covering St. John's and college basketball. Check out his work. Zach, always a pleasure talking some Johnny's Hoops with you. Thank you, man.
Hey, man. Thanks a lot.